So while you were gone, I put together the Kmart Kawasaki, and we're just doing a little wrap up here. I just want to quickly describe some of the stuff that was done, and then we're going to weigh it. So we put a fork on here. It's an aftermarket fork. It's nothing great, but you might remember the one video where I had to thread it and shorten it to make it fit. So that's on there. That's working good. Got the micro shift trigger shifter up there. It's only a 7-speed, but it shifts a lot better now. And then we put a Fox shock on it for the rear. So the suspension now has about 80mm travel front and rear, whereas before it had somewhere around 50 or 60. Plus it has some dampening in the rear. I don't know if the front does. It's basic coil spring fork. We have the Bucklows crank we put on there with the 113mm cartridge bearing bottom bracket. So chain center line's pretty good. 34 oval sprocket. And our freewheel is 12 to 28. So it's not great, but it worked for now. And the squeeze brakes. I took it for a ride. The squeeze brakes actually worked pretty good, so I was surprised myself with that. All right, so we're going to weigh this thing now and see if we lost any weight. Takes a second to zero. What does it say? I can't read it.
37.15.
Okay. 37.15. The strap was 0.11. So 37.04, and it was 4076. So we actually took over 3 pounds off it. Actually 3.5 pounds. That's not bad, 3.5 pounds. I mean, it's still a heavy bike, but you know, a lot lighter than it was. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put the Kmart Kawasaki in the storage building, and I'm going to bring in the Cannondale. And in Cannondale, we have our JG bike crank assembly we're going to put in it. We have a new fork for it. But for today, we're going to get the old crank assembly out, and we're going to weigh it, and we're going to take the JG bike crank assembly, and we're going to weigh that. And we're going to compare, see how much weight we're taking off. And so we'll do that now. So this is something I've wanted to do for a long time, because I know like a bike like the Kmart Kawasaki, the cranks are really heavy. Whereas with this Cannondale, they're really good cranks to begin with. They're pretty light. So I really wanted to see if there was a weight difference between a good set of cranks and the JG bike crank. So all this pretty much came apart standard. Put my little puller in there. The drive side came off pretty easy. The other side, though, you can see when we get to that, it was a little bit harder. Square taper, you know, so it fits on there. It makes like a snug connection. I struggled with that side a little bit. But it came off, didn't strip nothing, which was nice, so they could be reused, them cranks. Now we're going to get the cartridge bearing out. They're pretty heavy, too, compared to the BSA style external bearings. Everything came out pretty good. Taking the controls off. The only thing is, when I took the cable off, there's a hole now in the bottom bracket shell. I'm going to have to fill that somehow so no water gets in there. Okay, so you could probably see in this flower basket, they have all the components for the drivetrain, the shifter, cranks, bottom bracket, and we're going to weigh it. I previously weighed the basket. It was 0.88. So now, we have 4.24, okay? All right, so 3.36 is what we took off the bike. Now I'm going to take them parts out and we're going to weigh it, the new JG cycle parts, and see where we're at. All right, so now you look in here, we got the JG bike parts in there. Bottom bracket, all that stuff. So let's see what this weighs now. Is that 2.9 something? 2.91. All right, so let's subtract that. 2.91 minus 0.88. 3. 2.03. So that's over a pound. That's a pound and a third. It's like a pound and a third lighter. So over a pound we're taking off with that. So, all right, in our next video, we're going to be assembling these parts. We're going to do the fork. Get this fork apart, start working on a new fork, and the disc brakes. And we'll see how far we get in the next video. But that's going to be it for this video. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next video.